Hello everyone and welcome to another stream with me, Organivator. Today we're flying from Geneva up to Bristol. This is in the aftermath, should I say, of the last storm we had here in Britain, which was yesterday, and we're still suffering from fairly strong winds here in Bristol. And I thought it would be interesting to fly from Geneva because I've never flown from there before. So I've currently got the operational flight plan up, and we're just going to have a quick look through it, then find our aircraft and get into the air as soon as possible. We are also on VATSIM today, although we do not have any ATC here in Geneva, although we should have some as we cross Europe. A flight time today of about 1.5 hours. We'll be flying at 36,000 feet. So let's get straight into it. So we've got a flight plan from Geneva over to Bristol with an alternate of Heathrow. We're about 2 tons under our maximum landing weight, so considering the wind, we might take a bit of extra fuel. So we'll take 1.5 tons of extra fuel, so that will be 63, 64. Let's say 64 is a round number. Here's our route, it's also pinned into the chat. And I don't know why I've not got the desktop audio turned up. Okay, the route's also pinned into the chat. There's nothing really else to see, so let's go straight to the weather. As you can see in Bristol, we've got 24 knots, gusting 34 knots, and that's not straight down the runway, so that's a slight crosswind. And here's our route, so we're heading sort of northwest to begin with. We're getting up to Heathrow and we're taking a westerly turn over to Bristol. So let's have a look at the ground chart for here in Geneva. And we are, it is working, that's good. We're parked on stand 18. So if you find stand 18, that's where we're parked. Okay, and now we'll get straight into the aircraft and start setting some things up. Here we are. And I'm not sure why the music's still turned up. I'll turn that down. Right, so here we are in the aircraft. We're flying the FENIX A320 today. And the IRs are currently aligning, and we'll get the aircraft loaded up now. So we agreed. Sorry, what did we agree on the fuel? So we've got 7 tons planned of fuel. 7 tons, so we agreed on 8.5 tons of fuel. So let me just change that here. 8.5 tons, load aircraft fast. Okay, so the aircraft's now being loaded. If you're liking this live stream, please give it a like. It'll really help this channel out, and also consider subscribing if you'd like to. Okay, so the aircraft's being refueled, as we can see, and the IRS is aligning as well. I'll just check if we've got any ATC. No, we have not. So we can also start setting up. We can start setting up the McDo now. So Lima, Sierra, Golf, Golf 2, Echo, Golf, Golf Delta. That's Geneva to Bristol. Flight number is Organ 321. Cost index of 50. And we're cruising at 36,000. Okay, let's go to the flight plan page. Okay, so we're departing off of runway 22 via the Dippy 6 Alpha. Insert. To Dipper B37 Airway. To Ibaba. By UZ124. to Oboro. Sorry. Then it's via UH10 to Chabi. Via UM733 to Pyreg via UT421 to Kunav so insert all of that. From Kunav we go to T421 to Iktam insert, and then into Bristol our arrival is ILS27 via the ICDA 1 Bravo arrival. Insert. Okay, and we'll just check that flight plan. So plan page. Let's go 160 miles. And then we'll also just quickly get up the route. I'll go to charts. Okay, so let's make sure it looks sensible. So we're going up, up. Oh dear. Yeah, all the way northwest, and then taking a westerly turn over to Bristol. That looks correct. So we'll get rid of that. Okay, so that flight plan looks good. And we will now run a takeoff calculation. Before that, I'll just check everyone's on board quickly. Okay, we're still loading, we're almost full. Okay, the seatbelt signs can come on, and we'll also turn the APU on. And we can turn the fuel pumps on as well. And I'm not quite sure what's going on with the ground there, but that shouldn't be a problem. It's just a bug. Okay, so we've got 27 people left aboard. Our APU is starting up. Okay, our APU is available, so we'll turn on APU bleed and turn off the external power. We've got 10 people left aboard. Five people left aboard. One person left aboard. Okay, boarding is completed. So I will bring up that. And we can fill in the init B page. So it's 59, so it's 60, 31.3. 60/31.3. And we have 8.5 tons of fuel. And now we'll do a performance calculation. The runway surface is definitely not dry, it's wet, and we're also going off runway 22. So the pressure is 1026. And then we'll calculate that. Sync load sheet, there we are. We've got a 7 knot headwind. We've got V1 of 148. And V rotate of 158. And V2 of 159. Flaps 3. And flex takeoff temperature of 65 degrees. And we can turn this back to arc, range down a bit. And I can get rid of that. And we'll get these stairs way and doors shut and ground power unit away. And we'll make a call on VATSIM. So which departure is it? It's the Dippy 6 Alpha. So 122.8. Geneva traffic organ 321. We're at stand 18. Shortly pushing back for departure. Runway 22 Dippy 6 Alpha departure en route to Bristol. Shortly pushing back and departing runway 22. So there's a small break in the clouds. Right, so I will plan our pushback then. Pre-plan pushback.
The traffic, 74 passengers on board. Looking about a pushback 20 minutes from now, departing runway 22 out to the north.
Okay. We'll put it there. It doesn't really matter.
Outside -6 or +6, excuse me, and the wind looking 250 at 11 knots. Geneva traffic.
Beacon light on. Everything else looks good, and request pushback. Release parking brake and hold.
Traffic, Lufthansa 333 landing runway 22.
Okay, we're clear of the stand. Ignition starting engine number 2. Engine number 2 is starting up. And just so I can see them, I'm bringing up the charts, but you won't be able to see them. I'm just bringing up the taxi chart so I can announce our taxi route on Vatsim. We're at stand. So going along Charlie and backtracking. Okay, set parking brake. Parking brake set. Organ 321, we are shortly going to taxi for departure runway 22. We're going to enter the runway via Charlie and backtrack.
You wouldn't really need the backtrack, just take the taxi down all the way. Good to go.
Organ 321, is there any other traffic in the vicinity of the airport?
Yes, we are a Flybe-8 on stand 44.
Any traffic that is shortly landing or departing?
Stop 3766, X-ray, 7 miles out.
Okay, successful engine 2, starting engine number 1.
Lufthansa 322 vacated runway 22.
Airport, let's see if we can. Organ 321, we're going to taxi via Alpha to the end of runway 22 and then depart. Okay, so starting engine number 1, and we can turn the taxi light on. Strobes to auto wing lights on, nav logo lights on. We have a successful start on number 1. Ignition start back to normal. Set takeoff flap switches flap 3. 1, 2, 3. On the spoilers.
Geneva traffic.
Under control check. Full down. Full up. Full left. Full right. Rudder full left. Rudder full left. Rudder full right. Controls are full free and they have the correct movement. Setting max auto brake for takeoff. Setting our cruising altitude 36,000 feet. We've not talked through the standard departure, but that's fine because there's no air traffic control. Okay, and release parking brake. Organ 321, we're commencing taxiway Alpha to runway 22.
Geneva traffic, taxi 76, X-ray, landing runway 22.
If we have time at the end of the runway, I will bring up the departure chart and brake test. Brakes are working fine.
Fantastic, you did. Fantastic.
And that looked like a good landing. Okay, we can turn the APU bleed off, followed by the APU. Turn the landing lights on, taxi lights on, runway turn off lights on.
And taxi 76 X-ray, vacated runway 22 via taxiway Delta.
And we need set 1026 on the standby as well. Oh dear, we're... Let's ding the cabin again. They don't seem to have done anything. And we're going a bit to the left of the taxiway, but correct on. The cabin crews still don't seem to have taken their seats. No cabin ready. They must have heard me.
And taxi 76 X-ray, taxiing to stand 61.
Organ 321, we're entering runway 22 via Alpha. Okay, we're not going to show the departure, but it's basically climb at a heading 224 degrees. And then there's no altitude constraints that I can see. Turn right, which is what we were expecting anyway, and climb up. And I'm going to clear us straight to 36,000 feet because there's no air traffic control. Okay, and set the parking brake just a moment while I check something. So, progress, optimum. Okay, so the maximum is 37,000 feet, cruise at 36, so we can make it to our cruising altitude in one go. Although, slightly more sensibly, I'm just going to put it down to 32 to start with. Takeoff config check. And we'll turn that to there, and TAR8. Okay, so confirm runway 22. Parking brake released. Okay, so confirm runway 22, check the cam, takeoff no blue. Takeoff, start the chrono, and set 50%. Half side stick forward. 50% set, engines are stable, release the tow brake, set takeoff thrust. Manflex 65, SRS runway, auto thrust blue. S-speeds live. $80 knots, side stuck to neutral. 100 knots checked. V1 continue. Rotate. And follow the flight director's positive brake gear up. Got a bit of wind from the right, but nothing to worry about. Turn the brightness of the primary flight display down a bit. We're above F speed, so flaps to 1. Okay, and climb. Thrust, climb, climb, and pitch down to accelerate. And above S speed, flaps up. And we're going to select open climb. And above 5,000 feet, autopilot on. And we'll make a call saying we're clear of the runway. Geneva traffic organ 321, we're climbing up through 6,500 feet, climbing to flight level 320, and we're clear of the runway. Bit of turbulence. And we'll set standard pressure. And we're climbing up through 10,000 feet, so we're pitching forwards to gain some speed. And after our left turn, we can release the passengers and cabin crew. Okay, so we're leveling off, and then after our left turn, we will release the passengers and cabin crew. Okay, I guess we can do the after takeoff checklist. So gear is up, auto brake lights are off, let's disarm the spoilers, flaps are up, and we can turn off the landing lights, taxi lights and runway turn off lights. And we can check up on our altitude, so yeah, 34,000
taxi and holding point
is the
Alpha
optimum.
via Alta Alpha for Geneva.
Okay, so we've completed our left turn, so the seatbelt signs can go out. And we can increase the range on the nav display. And I better do that before I forget. I just found out that I've not filed the flight plan. Hello, if you've just joined us, feel free to ask any questions you have in the chat. Hello, as I say, if you've just joined us, feel free to ask any questions you might have in the chat. Also, if you're liking this live stream, I am a new channel, so consider liking this video. If you really like it, you could also subscribe, that would be awesome. Any support is much appreciated. We've just taken off from Geneva, we're climbing up to 32,000 feet, and we're going to Bristol. A remaining flight time of around 1 hour 10 minutes. Okay, so we're about 5,000 feet from our level off now. Okay, so our optimum is 350, but we're gonna wait until that says 360. Okay, and we'll do a fuel check over the waypoint loudly. So I'll bring the operational flight plan back up in just a moment. Okay, so we've got a 60 knot headwind at the moment. Okay, so I'll bring up the operational flight plan. So at Loudly we should have 4.1 tons plus the extra ton and a half we put on board. So that will be 5.1, 5.6 tons we should have at least at Loudly. So we'll see what we actually have when we get there. And we can also consider climbing again up to 35,000 is still thinking. We've got another aircraft off to our left, so I will attempt to make some contact with him. Air France 261 Organ 321. Air France 261 from organ 321. We're on 122.8.
Can you say again, Air France 261?
Air France 261, what altitude are you at, please?
30,000 feet.
Sorry, with that flight level 330. Air France Air France 261. Yeah, don't worry about it. I was just slightly concerned we were gonna cross each other's path, but we're not.
Okay.
Okay. Danger averted. So our ground speed over Lowell is meant to be 410 knots. I don't think it's going to be that high. But then the wind was meant to be 283 at 74 knots, and it's more of a headwind than that, so that will account for that discrepancy. And out start. And altitude hold has engaged. Okay, so we're overhead loudly pretty much now. We needed to have 5.6 tons, and we've got 6.3 tons. Nearly 6.4 tons, actually, so that's fine. Oh, I can get rid of that flight plan. Okay, so we're half an hour into the flight now. So we should have about an hour to go, except the wind is more of a headwind than it was meant to be, so there's probably a bit of a delay. I would say we've got an hour and 10 to an hour and a quarter. And on that note, I am going to take a very short break. I should be back in about 5 minutes. I'll turn up the aircraft sound and turn off the microphone. I'll be back in a few minutes. Hello again, and I'm back, and we're still at 35,000 feet en route. After I disappeared, you may have noticed it went dark. That's because I forgot to set live time before our departure. But I've now set live time, so that will not change again before our landing. So what I'm going to do now is I am just going to check our optimum flight level is still 350. And we'll do another fuel check in about 40 miles time. And let's head on up to 360. And out start. And we've got out cruise captured. Okay, so I'll bring up the flight plan again so you can see our fuel. Okay, so the next waypoint is Copa. We just had a bit of turbulence, which is the reason why we gained that altitude, but that might be a good thing. Okay, so at Copa we should have 3.5 tons plus 1.5 tons, which is 5 tons. Okay, so we're 10 miles away from Copa. And remember, at Copa we need 5 tons of fuel. Or more. But not less. Okay, so we're as well as being overhead Copa now, and we've got 5.9 tons if you round that up. And we needed 5 tons, so we've got plenty of fuel. So I'll get rid of the chart again. Okay, so I am just going to start thinking about the approach now. So, flight plan. Icta 1 Bravo. Right, so I will bring that chart up for you to see now. Okay, so at Icdam we want to be at flight level 220. At Asham we want to be at 300 knots, max 250 knots. And below 10,000 feet it says 250 knots unless you're otherwise authorized, so that's normal. We've not got any other terrain that I can see around. So we'll look at the approach, so it's 27, arrival, departure, arrival, approach, ILS or DME, runway 27. And for some reason I can't seem to move the chart around, so let me get the mouse This might work a bit better. Okay, so let's see. Missed approach, climbed straight ahead to 3000. Missed approach. Then turn right to LCTR. That doesn't apply to us. Platform altitude 2,500 feet. We're going to join at 3,000 feet. Standard 3-degree glide slope. Decision height 801 feet. Baro altimeter or 200 feet. 200 feet on the radar. That's what we'll tune. So let's just go back to the arrival chart again. Ictan 1 Bravo. So at Pomax I want to be at 180 knots. So let's find Pomax. 180 knots. Insert. And then we'll get our fuel production up, so 64.5 is our landing weight. So I will do a landing calculation. Runway 27. We're gonna assume it's medium when I don't think it's dry. And it's 64.5 tons. Nope, 64.5 tons. And apply the METAR. Medium auto brake, max reverse. Okay, that brings up an interesting question. So I will go to SimBrief and get the weather again. Bristol, QNH 1001, overcast, 130, shower, rain. I think that's going to be rain. Okay, let's go good medium, see if we get it in on that. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'll come down on the approach, we'll try and approach. If it is raining, we'll go around and we'll have to head back to Heathrow because there's no other option. Our landing calculation says we cannot land if the runway is wet. So that's our plan. We shouldn't really be trying an approach, but if we try an approach and it's raining, we'll just have to go around, unfortunately, and try again. Too steep path ahead. I'm not sure what that's trying to say, but we'll clear it. Performance, next phase, and QNH 1014. Temperature is 7 degrees. Wind is 250 at 17. And decision height is 200 feet on the radar. Flaps full. And now I will do an arrival briefing because we are getting to that point now. So I will bring up the charts again. Okay, so my plan is we'll start descending on our descent line. If we end up high on the profile, we'll select open descent. At Pomax we want to be at, in fact at Pomax what I'll do in the flight plan, Pomax descent, speed constraint, descent speed limit 80. No. Raise. Let's just try that again. Pomax. Back. Pomax. 100. Speed limit, flight level. Altitude constraint, that's what I want. 100. Flight level 100 and speed at 180. Okay, so we'll come down to Pomax. We should be at 10,000 feet and 180 knots. We'll configure nice and early for a stable approach into runway 27. Let me get 27. So a nice stable approach to runway 27. The go around / missed approach procedure is carry on straight ahead to 3,000 feet and wait instructions. But because we don't have any ATC, we'll turn right and do a downwind leg. If the reason for the go around was because it was raining, we will reroute to Heathrow. If the reason wasn't that, maybe we had a technical issue or something, we would go to the Bristol in the Bay or VOR, not quite sure which that one is, and we'd do a holding pattern as it's laid out in the chart, and then we would vector ourselves back onto the ILS and try again. The threats to be aware of obviously are our landing calculations said that if it was raining we wouldn't make it in, so in that case we'd have to go around, go straight to Heathrow. Heathrow does have air traffic control today. Another threat is obviously the lack of air traffic control, so if there's more than one aircraft wanting to do an approach, we'll have to ensure separation for ourselves. And of course another threat is what other threats do we have? It's nighttime, and if we don't have any runway lights, again that would be immediately go around and route to Heathrow. Other than that, the terrain around Bristol, there isn't much to worry about. We've got a decent amount of wind, which is a crosswind, so we'll just bear that in mind. It shouldn't cause any issues though. So yeah, I would say that we're pretty well prepared for the approach. So approach briefing completed. Okay, and we'll do one final fuel check over Bizru waypoint. So again, I'll bring up the chart, the flight plan, sorry. So over, oh, you can't see that well. Over Bizru, we should have 2,700, so 2.7, plus 1.5 tons of fuel. So we should have 4.2 tons of fuel over Bizru. Okay, so we've just coasted out of, which country is that? Anyway, we're now over the English Channel, just about to coast in actually over Brighton. And I guess we can turn the dome light on actually. Oh well, that looks nicer. Hello, so if you have just joined us, you feel free to ask any questions you might have in the chat. If you do like this live stream, please give it a like and consider supporting the channel further if you subscribe and would like to see more content like this. Okay, so we're over Bizroo now. We should have 4.2 tons of fuel, and we have 5.1 tons, so that is plenty of fuel. And we're going to commence our descent into Bristol in around 30 miles time, so that's in about probably just under 10 minutes. Hello to everyone who's just joined us. As I say, feel free to ask any questions you might have in the chat. And I'll get rid of the chart there. So we've now got about 25 miles until we commence our descent. I'll just rerun our landing calculation quickly. Doesn't have to be on screen. Just believe that I'm doing it. Okay, so got 4.6, so it's 64.6. 64.6 tons. Okay. Oh, we should, why do we have a speed error at POMAX flight plan? POMAX flight level 100, no we don't, we want 180. Constraint match, POMAX. Why do we have, we should not have that. Insert. POMAX 250. Flight plan arrays. Okay, we'll just make sure by ourselves in that case that we're at 180 knots by POMAX. Let's just make sure that we've got, yep, all of our destination data is filled in. We'll turn the dome light off, seatbelt signs can come on. And we can start our descent. Let's go down to 10,000 feet to begin with, and for once we'll go manage descent. And that should be in just under 5 miles now. Two and a half miles. And we can start descending. Mac descent nav. Okay, and we've now gone into thrust idle. Okay, so it has got the 180 constraint in there. And we'll actually add one at Asham as well. So Asham 110 and a speed constraint of 250. Insert. So Asham 110 at 250 knots. That's sensible. And we'll set our Q and H while we can. 1014 and 1014. We've got a track of 267. That's the runway track is 267. So the reciprocal of 267. So minus 180. So 267 minus 180 is 87. So we'll just put that in for some reference. And 9 miles. Okay, and we can turn on the seatbelt signs. We've already done that. And I've not made a call on VATSIM yet, so we should really do that. Morgan 321, we are at flight level 180, descending down to join the ILS. We're on the ECDAM 1 Bravo arrival for Bristol. So we've currently got a 75 knot headwind. And we should start decelerating in a few seconds. There we are, we're decelerating. Okay, and now is a good opportunity to prepare for our approach. So we're going auto brake medium, spoilers armed, landing lights on, taxi lights on, landing system activated. We will not activate the approach just yet. Although another thing to do while we prepare for the approach is to start the replay. So we're now at 11,000 feet and we're decelerating nicely down to 250 knots. We'll hit record. EGGD landing, and it's recording. We'll activate the approach phase shortly after we pass over Pomax. In fact, what we'll do is we'll go from Pomax and we will arm a heading of 230 degrees. So that's not me turning the aircraft, that's just me arming a heading mode. And talking of that, we have a tiny technical issue. Okay, that technical issue should be sorted. Okay, we have an autopilot disconnect warning. We'll just re-engage that quickly. That was caused by the computer glitching ever so slightly. Okay, we're now okay, so select 230. Actually, let's go to 220. So 267. So 267. 297. No, 267. 237. Okay, so we'll put in 237 degrees. Well, we need to intercept at 237, but we can put 215 and then change it to 237. And we'll activate the approach phase. Performance. Approach phase activated. And we're passing over Pomax. Heading mode selected. And we've got that blue ring, so we need to be at 3,000 feet by that point. And CF27, direct CF27, 087 degrees, insert, and pull the heading. And we'll arm the localizer. And 3,000 feet and use VS mode. Open descent. Flaps 1, speeds checked, flaps 1. So we're slightly high on profile, but that's okay. Right, we really do need to get that heading around though. got the runway in sight. But we're very high, so I'm gonna activate the spoilers. Right, we can see our glide slope. We're chasing it. Can we get down in time? That's the question. This is perfectly safe what we're doing, but we didn't want to carry it on much below about 2,500 feet. Okay, and setting our QNH, and on the standby one.
Bristol traffic easy 749 Charlie, pushing start, facing east from stand 22.
Organ 321, we're established on the low glider, shortly being established on the glide slope for runway 27, landing in 5 minutes. Okay, we can, on the approach mode, get rid of the spoilers. Flaps 2, speeds checked, flaps 2. We've intercepted the glide slope in plenty of time. And glide slope is captured. Organ 321 fully established on the ILS runway 27, landing in 4 minutes. Glide slope established, gear down. Landing gear down, 3 greens. Flaps 3, speeds check, flaps 3. And 3,000 feet, which is our missed approach altitude, is already set. Flaps full, speeds check, flaps full. So as we discussed, we're on a nice, long, stable final.
Bristol traffic easy 749 Charlie, taxi to the holding point, runway 27 and we'll hold for the traffic.
We've got no visible rain. Again, that could easily change, and if we touch down and we find that the runway's wet, we'll just abort the landing. There's no point risking it. We can also see we've got runway lights, which is good. Organ 321, we're on a 5.5 mile final. 2,000 checked. Okay, landing checklist, check the cam, landing no blue, landing checklist complete. We've got a 40 knot headwind. Stable. Continue the approach. I'm going to keep the autopilot in a bit longer though because of this wind. This wind is fairly horrendous. And the sim is frozen. No, it's just unfrozen itself. Autopilot is still engaged, which is good. Okay, autopilot off my aircraft. Okay, we're ignoring the glide slope, we're just looking out the window. You don't want those engines, continue, we don't want those engines to spool up too much. We're a bit high. And the sim's frozen. Oh dear, there's a gust of wind, go around.
30, 10, 5.
Port landing.
Ouch.
Mantoga SRS nav. Positive brake gear up. Following the flight directives. Autopilot 1 engaged to lower the workload. Go around flaps, please. Flaps 3 selected. Organ 321, we have gone round. Shortly turning right adjacent to the runway. Okay, and lever climb. Thrust climb, open climb, nav. And with past flap speed, so flaps to 1. So what is 267 plus 90? That is 357. Organ 321 turning right to 357 degrees. Runway is clear. And pool 357 degrees. And flaps ups. 200.
Traffic EV749 and Charlie departing on way 27 Brecon 1 X-ray departure. Bristol traffic.
Okay, so I think we know what went wrong there. We had a bit of a gust of wind right at the last moment, so we'd touched down, but the gust of wind had unfortunately just knocked us off the ground. That wind then dissipated, we slammed back down, and then I initiated a go around. So that was well done, I think. Right, so we're going to turn right to 087. Organ 321, we're turning right, heading 087 degrees, and we're going to retry that approach. Okay. We've got plenty of fuel on board still. So I'm not too concerned about fuel. And we'll reactivate the approach phase. And select managed speed. Organ 321, we're turning left, heading 060 degrees. Ah, 060, did I say? Okay, flaps 1, speeds checked, flaps 1. And we'll turn right to 110. Organ 321, we're turning right, heading 110. And we'll turn the range down to 10 miles. Organ 321, we're turning right, heading 140, vectoring ourselves back onto the ILS. And we're gonna turn right 200. Was I saying left turns? We were doing right turns anyway. I'm not sure which one I was saying. I must have been saying right turns. Okay, let's get the heading right around 260. Because the wind's blowing us anyway. Approach armed. Not 0.4 to the right. Not 0.3 to the right, and lock star. Organ 321, we are re-established on the localizer, shortly establishing on the glide slope for runway 27, Bristol traffic. Okay, glide slope is alive. And we never put the gear up, did we? Well, that doesn't actually affect us in any way, but it would be nice to know I'd left it down. My plan was to keep it down until we were well clear of the ground, I think. Did I say positive rate gear up? Because if I did, I think it just didn't register. And I should have checked anyway. Okay, so flaps 2, speeds checked flaps 2. We've got glide slope star as well. And the glide slope's captured. This is when I'd usually put the gear down, but since it's already down, I don't need to do that. Now, if we miss this landing as well, I think I'm going to take the decision to divert. Now, that could be a divert to Heathrow as per our flight plan, or I think slightly more realistically, we might go to Birmingham. And flaps full speeds checked. Oh no, yeah. Flaps full speeds checked, flaps full. And landing checklist. Check the cam landing, no blue. Landing checklist complete. I also don't think our landing was helped much by the computer freezing right at the last second. One thousand checked. And stable. Stable should be the call out. We are stable. We're on the localizer glide slope, and our speed is the approach speed that was pre-decided. Morgan 321 Bristol traffic, we're on final approach runway 27. There's no traffic that I can see on the taxiway. I just thought I'd let them know. I should say Bristol traffic, Morgan 321, but no one will care. I don't think anyone even heard it. Right, I'm going to take manual control here. So autopilot off. I have the controls. Keep our descent rate. We'll turn the brightness on the AFD down, but following the flight directives.
500.
Move back.
400. 100 above.
Still following the flight directives. We're a bit high. Continue. The picture looks okay. We can make it down, I think.
Light slow. 40.
Picture looks fine.
20. Retard.
Idle.
5.
And we're down. Not the smoothest touchdown. Max reverse. We've got spoilers, reverse screen, and we're decelerating. $80 knots reverse idle. And stop the chrono just there. We had a flight time of 1 hour and 45 minutes. And I'll wait until we're well on the taxiway before I start deconfiguring from the landing. Morgan 321 runway 27 at Bristol vacated. Okay. Flaps up. Spoilers disarmed. Dome light back on. Landing lights off, runway turn off lights off, and toast light to taxi. Bristol traffic, Morgan 321, we're taxiing via Golf and Zulu to the east apron. In fact, no, we're not. Morgan 321, correction, west. Taxiing via Golf and Zulu to stand 3 by the terminal. And we can turn the APU on. APU master switch on. 3, 2, 1. APU start switch on. Now, it's stand 3 available. We may have to go on the east apron after all. Right, so, no, we can continue taxiing along. Get it back on the taxiway. There we are. And APU is almost started. APU is available, although we won't be needing it. Stand 3 is the end stand, which is free. stand 1, stand 2, and finally stand 3. And I did remember to start the replay that time. Okay, brakes on. And we can set the parking brake. Parking brake has been set. And I'll load up the replay. If the replay wants to stop, that is. There we are. And before we do any of that, we'll just disconnect from VATSIM. Look, that's a nasty angle, isn't it? We'll play it from a bit further out there. Out 7. No, out 6. Okay, we'll play it from that view. Hello, if anyone has just joined us, you're joining us for the very, very last part of our stream. I'm just replaying the landing. Although if you do like this replay, feel free to hit that thumbs up button. Consider subscribing as well. Okay, so we're coming down. Sounds are a bit out, but that's fine. And it's a very hard landing. Oh, it wasn't too bad. And then it's medium auto brake, maximum reverse. And we're down. Let's replay that once more. This time from this view here. Okay, and I'll let you finish off with this replay. Thank you very, very much for watching. I hope to see you next time. If you did like this live stream, please consider subscribing. It would really help the channel out. Obviously, leave a like if you liked it as well. And I really hope to see you in our next live stream. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. See you all next time. Bye-bye.